Hey everybody, welcome to a new segment on my YouTube channel. Still talking about board games, still Kurt aka the Vitruvian Gamer, but this time I'm doing something new, and that is some kind of designer vlog. I am not a designer, I'm a board game enthusiast, and I love to design a game for myself in the first place. Only just once to see if I can make a playable game, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and design this game. I've been working on the game for a couple of weeks now, and I had the idea of sharing the process with you guys, and maybe you can give me some input, some help, and some ideas that could come in handy, because this is a daunting task. It's not easy, so I discovered. I've tried to make games before. I've made one game that's kind of playable, but well, it reminded me a little bit too much of Magic. Well, maybe it wasn't, but still I've got the feeling it was not good enough. I'm trying to rework or redo that game a little bit to make it a little bit different now that I have the experience as a board game player. And well, but now I try to focus on one design I'm trying to make, and I'm talking about a game with the working title Futsal. And Futsal is a sport, of course. It's indoor soccer, which I play myself in real life. And well, one day I got this idea. I want to make a soccer game, or a soccer themed game, which I would like to play myself, because I had not found a game which I really liked. I own the game Futsal Tactic 2006. It's called Soccer Time in English, I think, and that's okay. It's a light game, but well, not really a gamer's game. And so I started thinking, and how does this process started? Well, as maybe, not sure, many designers, their ideas start by an idea in their head, lying awake at night in bed, and then next day taking a little booklet and writing some things down. So what was the first thing I wrote down in this design? I wrote down deck builder in the style of Star Realms, with a futsal team using a game board. So that was the idea. So I took Star Realms. It is a great sci-fi deck building game for 2 players. I took that idea and I thought, well, maybe I can add a board to it and make it, well, in a game about futsal. So then I started writing, I started drawing, and how I wanted the board to be, which has already changed. Then I start thinking what should be on the cards. So this was the first drawing of the possibility of a card, and well, I started with the idea of, well, every card has a name, every card has a picture, of course, and every card could be used as for an attack or for a defensive ability. Had a cost at well, buying value credits to buy cards, and had these little squares here which indicated, or should indicate, in which part of the field that card could be used. So that was the first idea, but as soon I realized it was a little bit too convoluted, too much things on one card. I really wanted the card to do different things, but it was just too much. So I started thinking a little bit more. I started working on another game, of which I will probably tell you later, or maybe, not sure. And well, after a while, I had a new idea. So what came out of that new idea? Let me see if I can. So I started to draw this picture here, and well, it doesn't say much, I think on screen here. but as you can see I only have, well, 3 major spaces on the card now, instead of I think at 5 in the beginning. And so as I always do, I open an Excel file and I start making cards in Excel. Why in Excel? Because I have no clue how Photoshop works, or not enough clues about how it works, and I think well, it's pretty useful to design a quick to make some quick prototype cards. So I started doing that, and well, the result was cards like this. So absolutely not how it will or should look when this game is finished, if it ever gets finished, but as you can see, a little bit more clear than the first design. And well, the primary idea is that we have 100 cards to play with, really. So that's 2 suits, but only the aces only have one of each, so no double aces of each color. So we have 4 colors, and each card has a number from 1 to 10, or well, a jack, queen or king. And well, that's the basic idea. So this would be, in my idea, a common deck of cards, of which players can buy cards, of course, like we can do in Star Realms. The other cards, so I was thinking, well, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about board games, read a lot of things about designing them, and the thing is, they always say for the cheaper, to be the games to be cheaper, you have to make a 54 card deck, or the double, because that's 2 cards, it's easier to produce. So I kept that in mind, so I'm using the amount of 2 real card decks. So I have 100 cards in the common deck here, and I also have 2 well, wild cards and 2 timeout cards that will shuffle the discard pile of the common deck back into the draw pile. I'm doing that because well, I will explain that later, but this is to make sure people cannot count the cards that are still in the deck or already been played, so it gets reshuffled sometimes. I've got these cards, those are the score cards, and to explain that, I have this simple version of a board here. So the board will look something like this, in color of course, and cardboard and whatever, but this will be the scorecard, so each player can put it on their side beneath the board, and if they score, they can just, well, as you can see, they can just adapt it to the number, and it goes to a maximum of 3. I think that will be enough. So each player has one of those, and probably the 2 cards I have still left will probably be reference cards for players. It's always easy. So what's the idea of the game, you might ask? And well, if you're still here watching this video, you probably ask. So the idea I'm working with is that each card has, well, so it has a color, which is the suit actually. So instead of hearts and diamonds and spades, I've used 4 colors, and each card has a number. So that's something that I explain later. Each card will have, in this middle part here, I will put the directions and the amount of spaces this card can be used to give a pass to another player. And the bottom part is a special ability, like drawing cards, like getting attack bonuses, like having more money to buy cards with, to influence all kinds of things, also messing with your opponent a little bit. And sometimes, as does Star Realms, or maybe more like Legendary Encounter, the Marvel Legendary game has some synergy bonus. So if you already played that color of card, you can activate an extra ability on the card. So that's the idea. And then maybe probably one of the most important things are these little squares here these 8 squares, so each in each corner, each side, and the top and the bottom square, those will have values as well. And that's the thing I'm not so sure about yet, how I'm going to do that or what the numbers will be. But that will be the way to do duels, to do interceptions of passing. And how that will work is that if a player has a duel, so this is the attacking player, for example, the other player, and maybe the ball is on the left side of the player, and we will see this number, so the left square on the player is where the opponent is. They are going to have a duel, so the other player has this card, plays it his way, here like this. So we have two numbers that can be compared. Those will be influenced by some more things, I'm not sure yet. Trying to think of a certain way to make this an interesting combat, so not only comparing these two numbers but also doing a little bit more interaction. So that's the idea about that. And well, the other thing I'm doing is how to shoot at the goal. So I've thought about that system already also, and the way I want to do that is by doing some kind of poker hands, a little bit comparable with Doomtown Reloaded system. If players are doing a shoot off there, they have to draw poker hands and well compare their hands. So I think I'm going to do something like that as well. And how that will work is as soon as a player shoots on tries to score, so he takes a shot, he will compare the position of his player who has the ball. He's going to see how much free space he has between him and the nearest defender and the goalie, of course. And depending on that distance, he will be able to draw a few more cards. There will be the buying area, which I'm calling the draft at this moment, which will have 3 cards open, which you can buy. And those cards are also like the river in poker. So you're going to play with cards you still have in your hands, maybe a few cards you can draw while shooting, and the cards in the river, the draft. And well, the defender has the same story. He has his cards in his hand. He can draw a little bit more cards when defending. And well, then you do some poker, of course. So you check who is the winner. But of course, we have two decks of cards. So it might happen that you have a pair of 2s in your hand, but they are both of the purple suit. This, of course, is no problem. You can count this as a pair, and that might win you the duel or might score you the goal. But of course, as you can see, it's not a legal hand of poker, so that will raise your foul track. So the referee has caught something and you have a foul track on the board later, and that goes up. The foul track can also be influenced by cards in the future, so that's also the plan. And well, in futsal there is something as yellow cards and red cards, but they also have a time penalty, and I'm thinking about doing something like that. I'm not sure what, so as soon as you reach a certain level or certain number on the foul track, you will have this kind of penalty by having to remove a player for a while, or well, maybe I'm not sure, losing some cards. I'm not sure yet, so I'm thinking about that as well. So that's the idea. What did I not tell you yet? This is not the final version of these cards because I already changed them a little bit, but I have to print them and cut them again. So this is my trusty good friend here. Yes, I use scissors. And so you can see maybe on the screen here, this little shoe here. Well, that shoe has been moved up here, and here I've put the image of a soccer shirt. And one will say, of course, the shoe will tell you how much you can move, and I think that's the same number as the value you can use to buy with, and then the number in the shirt will be how much the card cost. Still all these numbers to think about, and to be honest, that's the hardest part. It's also not easy to find all these abilities to put on the cards. I try to give each color of cards a certain specialty. I also like story realms maybe. To make it easy, I made the yellow cards influence card drawing or card removal from hand from yourself or from the opponent. Made red the cards that give you better attack values. Blue is the defensive cards, and purple are cards that do all kind of things like influencing the draft and so on. So that's something I'm working on at this moment. I hope you find this a little bit interesting. I've got a lot of work to do still, and well, just let me know if you think this idea could work and if you have any ideas in this style. I'm not sure if this is clear in any way. It's hard to explain because it's still not completely clear in my head. I have this idea what I want to do, but it's difficult to put those ideas completely into a game, especially for a new designer or a new wannabe designer. So let me make this clear. I'm not well. It's not my goal to be published or anything. It would be unbelievable to have this game with my name on it. I admit that, of course. I think we all have our pride and all have our dreams. But this is not the major goal. This is not what I want to do. If this game would ever be a game that I think, well, this is really fun, this works, this is balanced, this works, this is okay, I might use... I might talk to some people who know something about it, about publishing games, but I'm not. That's not my my major or my first goal of this attempt of designing a game. So, if you have any comments, if you have any ideas, maybe how I can do this duel with duels or pass interrupts. How I should influence these numbers. I was thinking about doing something with blackjack, because I already have the poker thing. Maybe I can do a blackjack thing here, or maybe I can do a poker thing as well here. I'm not sure. The game should go fast enough. Oh, that's what I haven't told you. So each round actually, the attacker plays is of course the one who has the ball, and each time players at this moment will take one card of their hand. They both will place it face down on their side. When both players have chosen their card, both players reveal it. Attacking player goes first. Defending player then might interrupt something, of course, with his ability, and we do that each round with 5 cards next to each other. So each time 5 cards. When those are played, you discard all those played cards. You get after you get a chance to buy new cards, or one new card. You put everything in your discard pile and you draw, well, 5 new cards, and you might draw more playing the cards. So that's the idea as well. I forgot about telling you that. So that's the idea, and of course, as soon as defender takes control of the ball. The round ends and you take new cards just to do that. So that's how it works. So please don't hesitate to comment on this video. Don't hesitate to give your ideas or to ask things if things are not clear. I think that will be the response that I will get the most. But still, I really look forward to get some thoughts about this, and if you do, well, please tell me. So I thank you for watching about 20 minutes of me talking about this game I'm trying to make. So thank you all for watching, and thanks in advance for all your reactions. So see you guys in my next video. See you guys in the future. Bye bye.